So now we proceed to Dragan Chobanov, who will be talking about some new faunistic records from Bulgaria. Dragan.
Thank you, Roy. So, the story of Bulgaria. We've heard yesterday about the advance of orthopterist science in Western and Central Europe. And on the Balkans, we still have time to catch up with. But, how I change it? The green one. Okay. The short story, I've separated the historical period into four, actually one intermediate, with the beginning of with the description of Pecilimon orbelicus by Pancic, and the following more or less scattered research. Then in the 1955, the catalog of Orthoptera by Borissov Dragan P started publishing, and the subsequent works by Peshev and his students I combine in this period. Then there is a short intermediate period in the 80s, 90s with scattered research, and the third period, I would say, with more intensified research in the 2000s, with publishing a lot of taxonomic faunistic data and additional scattered research with connected with different studies. Within these periods, a few important lists or catalogs were published, first by Frey-Gessner, Nedelkov, the catalog by Borissov Dragan P, as I mentioned, a checklist by Popov, combining most of the records till then, and my PhD thesis, largely published by now. You see decreasing the number, but that's due because of mostly of taxonomic changes, different understanding of the species limits. So most faunistic novelties I would combine due to four main reasons: species limits reconsidered, range expansion, undersampled areas combined with the species distribution limits, and undersampled habitats. On the photos you see the last two species described from Bulgaria, Pecilimon rosoviridis and Tetigonia balkanica. Well, Tetigonia balkanica, the whole type is in North Macedonia. Some yet unpublished data to subspecies of Ephibiga, one of them already published in literature, but not illustrated properly yet. And there is a comparison of the titulators used for description of these subspecies. You can see the great variability and also the difference between the original illustrations and the drawings made using photographs, as well as the synonymy of Tartarogrillus tartarus with Tartarogrillus sandanski based on full morphological similarity. Yet we don't know, we haven't tested them genetically. What about overlooked taxa or reconsidered species borders? This was one of the main reasons for update of the faunistic list in the past. There are some examples. And quite recently, Omocestus raimondi, as Luke mentioned, found in northern Greece, with the help by Christian and Florin. We found it also in Bulgaria in a quite similar habitat. And Thessalana carinata is another example, just replacing the formerly known Thessalana nigrosignata, now occurring only in Italy. Range expansion, this is a bit more tricky. We know some very well proved examples from Europe, like Myconema meridionale, also spreading in Bulgaria very fast. But a few recent examples are Achrometopa syriaca, found there in the yellow spot near the Greek border, together with Dirk. Acanthus dulcisonans, I thought it might be just overlooked species, but finding it in the, there's no pointer, right? Oh. So finding it up there, left, at 1500 meters, it seems that the species has a very good ability to disperse. And Grillus bimaculatus, well, I'm not sure, maybe it just occurs there, but maybe it's expanding. And the first example of Orthopteran reported by amateurs, by naturalists, Eprepocnemis plorans, it's in press by colleagues that are just lovers of nature. Undersampled areas combined with species distribution borders reveals nice new records. The case with Miramella is published in IUCN, not yet but on paper, and I would stress on a nice example, Polysarchus scutatus. I've been looking for it for years, finally found it across the border nearby its type locality in Serbia. Well, undersampled habitats. This is a more interesting case, especially for habitats that are disappearing from the country. A very important wetlands. We've heard about Cortipus lacustris. Something similar happens in Bulgaria. Largely destructed habitats. And the case with Ceoneriana amplipenis, thought to be endemic of the inflow of Sava into Danube rivers, then found in the Danube Delta, and after some careful research, we found it in an island within the Danube River in a very dense, thorny vegetation. Conocephalus ebneri and Chrysochraon dispargiganteus fit very well the descriptions, and I believe all the South Bulgarian populations belong to these species, very scattered under threat. And while Conocephalus dorsalis is disappearing from Bulgaria, obviously shifting north, because it's quite common now in Central Europe. Underground habitats. This is also not very used to sample by orthopterists. Recent study by us. Now we can add one point of Grylotalpa crimbasi in the southwest of Bulgaria, fitting quite well the description. And genus Myrmecophilus, after thorough study combined with genetic data and by the expert help by Thomas Stalling, now we believe there are at least 6 species of Myrmecophilus in Bulgaria. One still undescribed by Thomas, going to be soon. And steppes, I would like to stress on this habitat because also we have a project ongoing considering the steppes. The eastern sub-Mediterranean grasslands, well distributed in the past in the south, especially southeast of the country. They revealed some novelties like Stenobotrus grecus, here these two on the left, Stenobotrus eurasius macedonicus. Still, we can use it as a new species from the Habitats Directive until it will be considered distinct species. And a picture of the typical eastern steppes. Oh, I haven't mentioned the Ramburiella turcomana and how is it back? Yeah, and Duciostaurus generi were reported from the southwest over there, but never found again. Ramburiella turcomana was found in one of the localities together with Stenobotrus macedonicus. Duciostaurus genei is still requiring study. Our studies revealed plenty of new records, considering like Onotus cervellei especially, but there are some cases of very restricted species, including Montana medvedevi, and especially the recent finding of Montana striata a few hundred kilometers apart from its closest locality, and its population is very, very small there in Bulgaria. And focusing... Sorry?
The light blue will point on the left side.
The line?
Light blue.
Light blue? Oh, sorry, it's Onconotus. It's probably the color. I misplaced the color. In a recent study, we focus a little bit more on the distribution of Onconotus cervillae. 5? Okay, thank you. On Onconotus cervillae's distribution, trying to overlap it with the modeling distribution, the distribution of Natura 2000 habitat Pontic lost steppes and Eonis classification. So we really see a quite worrying trend of steppes being destructed by overgrazing, by other practices that are actually partly funded by the European Union. And to conclude, 19 new taxa added since last papers, in total 231 taxa so far for the country, still some in need to revise, to check, and more to expect, maybe not all of them listed, and a summary of the reasons for the data accumulation in the last years by numbers. So thank you, and thank the National Scientific Fund for supporting us.
Great. Thank you, Dragan. Are there any questions? No questions. Online, maybe? No? Yes, there is one.
Thank you very much. I'm Szymon Czyżewski from Poland. I just have a short question about the Ephipigera subspecies, if they differ also in song somehow.
I couldn't find any difference between them, and also Ephipigera is quite common all over the country, so the existence of subspecies is not very logical. But yeah, maybe a further, deeper research, especially in genetic data, could reveal some, I don't know, fragmentation.
Oh, there's another online question.
Two online questions. Yes. Laurent Pelozuelo, he asks about the coastal habitats. Are they undersampled, for example, the Pseudomorgoplistes species or something like that?
Yes, I believe we should also dig up to the coastal habitats. Pseudomorgoplistes is quite a possible species to be found.
Okay. And Josip Skeo, he says, are you planning to start barcoding soon?
Well, as we heard yesterday, barcoding is a tricky thing, so it would be good to have some genetic library of Bulgarian Orthoptera, and we are accumulating a lot of data that could be used as barcode data.
Thank you again.
Thank you.